Let's bring in Florida Senator Rick Scott. He sits in the Armed Services and Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, great to see you tonight. I want to get right in it on Iran. The president has been trying to preserve space for negotiations, for talks. Do you think it's time to abandon that space and force a deal instead of negotiating one?
Well, first off, I want to thank the president because he's sick and tired of Americans getting killed. Americans have been killed for 47 years, and finally this guy said enough's enough. He's going to make sure they don't have a nuclear weapon. So, and he's given them chance after chance to have a diplomatic solution. But it looks like they're not going to come to the table anytime soon. So he's going to do exactly what he says he's going to do, and unfortunately, it's going to be horrible for Iran. But their regime is asking for it. I mean, they cannot have a nuclear weapon, they cannot have ballistic missiles, and they cannot be, threatening our men and women over in the Middle East. So they're messing around with the wrong president. They must think Obama or Biden are in office.
Do you get concerned that things might be spreading? So you had Iranian-backed Iraq proxies in Iraq hitting Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia hits back. You got the Red Sea involved now. There are more players here. It gets more complex. Is time creating the opportunity for this to get more murky? How do you read that?
Well, it's been murky forever, right? Iran's been the destabilizer. I mean, they're the ones that have been supporting the Houthis and Hezbollah, Hamas. So they've been destabilizing this forever. So what this president's trying to do is bring people together to stop it. And there's a coalition that wants to stop it. And it's going to work because this president's not going to stop until it works. I mean, none of us want war. I don't know anybody that wants war. This president doesn't want war. But we're sick and tired of Americans being killed. And you can't put Americans in a situation where Iran has a nuclear weapon where they could drop in some American city down the road. So, the president's doing it. It's tough. It's hard what he's doing. But he is absolutely doing the right thing.
Let me shift the conversation just a little bit to Ukraine. You and your colleagues have had a chance to meet with Vladimir Zelensky about his call for help with air defenses in Ukraine. And you got a chance to talk with his top guy on drones about the way that's affected their battle with Russia. They've had success in the battlefield, Senator. Is that shifting America's interest in what's going on with Ukraine right now?
Well, we want Ukraine to win, and we want Russia to lose. Ukraine's the good guys, Russia's the bad guys. It's as simple as that. So we and our European allies have got to do everything we can to continue to help Ukraine. And they're helping themselves, and they're bringing talent to the table. What they've done with drone technology to defend themselves and to take the war to Russia, so it's not just in Ukraine territory, is unbelievable. We can learn a lot from them. I brought some Ukrainian commanders in today, the Republican senators' lunch, to explain what they are doing. They're building 5 million drones a year, right? And they have well-trained operators, so we can learn from them, and we need to learn from them because the existing wars and future wars are going to be so dependent on drone technology and drone operators, which is what's important. We got to train American men and women to be great drone operators, like what's going on in Ukraine right now.
Do you get nervous about giving away too much of our missile defense technology to Ukraine? They may be an ally. You could say they're a new ally. Do we trust them enough to say have them manufacturing those armaments overseas?
Well, I think I actually trust them. And on top of that, they're bringing something to the table for us. What they've done with drone technology, right, and what we can learn from them, and the training we can receive from them, they're bringing a lot to the table also.
All right, I want to shift gears to action on the Hill today, Senator. You were in the hearing with Dr. Anthony Fauci this morning. For the folks at home who may have missed it, we want to give you a look at how it went down. Watch this.
A pardon may protect a person from criminal prosecution, doesn't rewrite history. It does not erase documents. It does not convert a misleading statement into a truthful one.
The sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion. I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions.
In hindsight, are you disappointed how you handled COVID? Do you have any regrets?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer.
How do you square telling the American people publicly that you didn't recommend locking anything down with your own diary entry kept on federal government equipment saying that your recommendation is what convinced the mayor and the president to lock things down?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer.
What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer.
Can you do me a favor in the audience and stand up if during the time of the COVID pandemic, you were called a racist for calling the virus a Wuhan virus or the China virus? If you thought it was outrageous the way the mask policy was rolled out, if you were fired from your job for not taking that vaccine, Dr. Fauci, can you just turn around and look at the people behind you? You're not willing to do that? You can't even look at them? That's a question. Are you able to look at them? There was a mom in Ohio during the depth of the coronavirus pandemic, decided to go to her high school football game for her son. Just a mom, a dad, a few kids. They didn't feel they needed to wear masks because it was stupid, because they were outside. They all live together. They're not near anybody. Dr. Fauci, do you know what happened to that mom and that family?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
They were dragged out of that stadium and arrested. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country.
Senator, this isn't a partisan issue. Republican parents, Democrat parents, independent parents, everybody wants an accounting for what happened. What comes next after today's hearing? Is it contempt? Is it a referral to the DOJ? What do you see?
Well, I think next week we're going to vote to hold him in contempt. And then the DOJ, they'll continue to look at if there's something they can do. I mean, he got this auto pen pardon, but think about how many people died because of Anthony Fauci. How many people lost, their loved ones where they couldn't go either to watch, be with them when they died or go to their funeral. How many people lost years of schooling? How many people took a vaccine and had problems afterwards. I mean, all this was caused by a guy that cared way more about throwing out first pitches and meeting, celebrities and being on national television. And what you saw with the diary, he's a complete liar. He said something totally different in his diary than what he told the American public. What a jerk. What he did to Americans and the trust that we've lost now because of him. Of the CDC and NIH. And I mean, this is despicable what this guy did today.
I'd like to get your reaction to this, if I could, Senator. Your colleague, Senator Blumenthal from Connecticut today, comparing Republican questioning, and you're part of that group, of Fauci to McCarthyism. Watch this.
Republicans are eager to rebrand you as a villain in order to distract from their own failure to protect Americans from soaring health care costs. The proceeding underway is simply an effort to trap Dr. Fauci in some kind of criminal wrongdoing. Under Senator Joe McCarthy, it became standard operating procedure to seek that kind of prosecutorial objective.
What's your response to Senator Blumenthal?
Well, I don't think there's any question that Fauci is a villain. He's not a hero. He didn't save us from COVID. He caused it to be way worse. And he lied about it. He lied about the gain of function. He lied about all this stuff. And by the way, every time the Democrats open their mouth, why are healthcare costs so high? Obamacare. Why are gas prices high? Guess what? The Democrats tried to shut down the entire oil and gas industry. Why do we have the cost of living we have? Because in the Biden years, inflation skyrocketed because they're wasteful spending, all the regulatory problems, permitting. So they've caused all these problems. They want to act like somebody else did it. But today was a disappointing day because we got no information from Fauci.
Senator Rick Scott, great to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us and answering our questions. We appreciate it.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right.